Hello friends, how are you all? Today I am going to be teaching you about Auxin. Yes, it is going to be very late since I have uploaded a lecture, but sorry for that. Now let's talk about Auxin. What is Auxin? It is actually a growth hormone. Now let's talk about this hormone. Growth hormones are actually those hormones that are responsible for plants' growth. Okay, so today we are going to study the effect of Auxin on plants, like whether how it works on plants regarding its growth. ठीक है जी? Okay, so the first thing I am going to be teaching you is the form and function of multicellular organisms would not be possible without efficient communication among cells, tissues and organs. The form and function of multicellular organism, like plants are multicellular organisms, we are multicellular organisms as well, like we are made up of millions and trillions of cells, and that is why we are multicellular. Okay, so this multicellular functions is not going to be possible without efficient communication among cells, tissues and organs. Like we are made of cells, tissues and organs, and without their communication between themselves, like if cells talk to tissues or if tissues talk to organs, cells aggregation is tissues and tissues aggregation is organs. ठीक है जी? तो अगर ये मिलकर काम नहीं करेंगे तो हमारा मल्टी सेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म हमारा नहीं अच्छे से फंक्शन कर सकेगा. इस लाइन का ये मतलब है. तो नेक्स्ट है, in higher plants, regulation and coordination of metabolism, growth and morphogenesis often depend on chemical signals from one part of plant to another. And because of their communications, the communication between cells, tissues and organs, we have lots of chemical signals that move from one part of the plant to another. That is how they communicate. Like जो ये organs हैं आपस में बातें थोड़ी करते हैं, तो ये केमिकल सिग्नल्स जनरेट करते हैं एक पार्ट के प्लांट से दूसरे पार्ट तक. ठीक है जी? इस तरह कम्युनिकेशन हो पाती है. आगे है, दिस आइडिया ओरिजिनेटेड इन द 19th century विद द जर्मन बॉटनिस्ट जूलियस वॉन सैक्स 1832 to 1897. This idea was first originated from this scientist. What he said Sachs proposed that chemical messengers are responsible for the formation and growth of different plant organs. Like chemical messengers, he said that chemical messengers which are responsible for growth and certain other development, growth, everything is responsible by these chemical messengers. He also suggested that external factors such as gravity could affect the distribution of these substances within a plant. He said that chemical messengers are super important for plant growth, but the gravity factor कि ज़मीन के अंदर जो कशिश शकल है, that can affect this function. Okay. So although Sachs did not know the identity of these chemical messengers, his ideas led to their eventual discovery. He didn't know about the chemical messengers' names, so just he said that those substances which are responsible for plant growth are called chemical messengers. The first chemical messenger which was identified or discovered was Auxin. Later we just studied this. Okay, so आगे है Many of our current concepts about intercellular communication in plants have been derived from similar studies in animals. In animals, the chemical messengers that mediate intercellular communications are called hormones. Like something that is responsible for intercellular communication in plants are called hormones as well as in animals. ठीक है? हम आगे पढ़ेंगे कि प्लांट्स के अंदर भी जो केमिकल मैसेंजर्स को जनरेट करते हैं उन्हें हॉर्मोन्स ही कहते हैं. हॉर्मोन्स इंटरेक्ट विद स्पेसिफिक सेलुलर प्रोटीन्स कॉल्ड रिसेप्टर्स. तो ये हॉर्मोन्स क्या है? इन एनिमल्स द केमिकल मैसेंजर्स, उन केमिकल मैसेंजर्स को हॉर्मोन्स का नाम दिया गया. एंड द हॉर्मोन्स इंटरेक्ट विद स्पेसिफिक इंटरसेलुलर प्रोटीन्स कॉल्ड रिसेप्टर्स. और ये हॉर्मोन्स रिसेप्टर के साथ कम्युनिकेट करते हैं और एक्शन को परफॉर्म करते हैं. ठीक है? Like a plant that is called touch me not, if would touch the leaves of those plant, the leaves are going to immediately टर्न ऑफ. लाइक ये वो क्या करते हैं, वो जो लीव्स हैं उसके वो खुद ब खुद से बंद होना शुरू हो जाते हैं जैसे ही हम उसके लीव को टच करते हैं. वहाँ होता क्या है कि हार्मोन्स, केमिकल मैसेंजर्स जो होते हैं वो मैसेज जनरेट करते हैं और रिसेप्टर्स के थ्रू जो लीव्स हैं वो अपने आप को शेड कर लेते हैं, बंद कर लेते हैं, कवर कर लेते हैं, और ये एक रिस्पॉन्स है, केमिकल रिस्पॉन्स है. टच मी नॉट प्लांट इज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ दिस हार्मोन एंड रिसेप्टर टाइप थिंग. ठीक है? Most animal hormones are synthesized and secreted in one part of the body and are transferred to specific target sites in other part of the body via the bloodstream. So in animals, not the hormone where it is synthesized, it doesn't have to work properly in that site. Okay, so the hormone, if it generated in one site, it has to do work to another site, and this transfer of this hormone from the point of generation to the point of action is via the bloodstream. Animal hormones fall into 4 general categories. Like animal hormones की जो 4 मेन टाइप्स हैं, मैंने यहाँ पर भी लिख दी हैं और यहाँ पर भी, यहाँ पर मैंने सारे इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स लिख दिए हैं. यू कैन नोट्स निकालिए, कॉपीज निकालिए और आप यहाँ पर अलग से लिख भी सकते हैं, या फिर जो मैं बोल रही हूँ यू कैन कॉपी दैट एज वेल. ओके, सो द 4 मेन हॉर्मोन्स इन एनिमल्स आर प्रोटीन्स, स्मॉल पेप्टाइड्स, अमाइनो एसिड डेरिवेटिव्स एंड स्टीरॉइड्स. प्रोटीन्स, स्मॉल पेप्टाइड्स, अमाइनो एसिड डेरिवेटिव्स एंड स्टीरॉइड्स. आपको की थोड़ी बहुत तो नॉलेज होगी, लेकिन हम लेटर स्टडीज में ये भी पढ़ लेंगे. ओके, so the next thing is plants also produce signaling molecules called hormones that have profound effects on development at vanishingly low concentration. Plants also produce signaling hormones. Plants also produce signaling molecules called hormones that have profound effects on development at vanishingly low concentration. Like if hormones are at low concentration production, they are still responsible for their growth and development. Okay, so until quite recently, plant development was thought to be regulated by only 5 types of hormones. तो मेन प्लांट हार्मोन्स के बारे में अब हम डिस्कस करेंगे. द मेन प्लांट हार्मोन्स आर ऑक्सिन, जिब्रेलिन, साइटोकाइनिन, इथाइलिन एंड एब्सिसिक एसिड. Main animal hormones are proteins, small peptides, amino acids, and steroids. Main plant hormones are auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene, and abscisic acid. All right. So in this topic, we are discussing about auxin, but in today's video, we are just getting the normal point. Okay, so a variety of other signaling molecules that play roles in resistance to pathogens and defense against herbivores also are identified, including jasmonic acid, salicylic acid, and polypeptide cysteamine. So this jasmonic acid, salicylic acid, and the polypeptide cysteamine, what are these? These are also hormones, signaling molecules, but they are not related towards their growth and towards their development. They are related towards their defense mechanism. The next thing which are discussing we today is the first plant hormone we will consider is auxin. Auxin deserves pride of place in any discussion of plant hormones because it was the first plant hormone, growth hormone, to be discovered in plants. Auxin was the first plant hormone discovered. All right, I have mentioned this point as an important point, so you can copy that as well. And much of early physiological work on the mechanism of plant cell expansion was carried out in the relation to auxin action. Like before the discovery of other hormones, auxin was considered to be the most important hormone, and every discovery or every study regarding the plant development and growth, auxin was a midpoint. All right, so moreover, both auxin and cytokinin different from the other plant hormones and signaling agents in one important respect: they are required for viability. Like they are required if in high or low concentration, they are the must part of plant. Thus far, no mutants lacking either auxin or cytokinin have been found, suggesting that mutations that eliminate them are lethal. Like the plants that are lack of or that don't have any kind of auxin or cytokinin, those plants are not going to be survived. Those plants are going to be lethal. Those mutants are going to be lethal. Whereas the other plant hormones seem to act as on-off switches that regulate specific development processes, auxin and cytokinin appear to be required at some level more or less continually. Like if we talk about other hormones, like they have on-off signals, where the plants can turn them off if they don't need them, or they can turn them on in case of their need. But auxin and cytokinin are those kind of hormones that are going to be needed by plants every time, because development and growth is occurring all time in plants. आगे है, we begin our discussion of auxin with a brief history. So this was the topic we are discussing in the next lecture. So stay tuned. Allah Hafiz.